What's going on, guys? We're back with another impressions video from E3, and today we're talking about Zelda. I know Alex is super excited about this. If you were actually there in the booth when he was playing this, then it was like his excitement levels were like Christmas time times 100 times whatever. So I'm here with Alex.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I am. I've been looking forward to this the whole show since the trailer went live, and yeah, today was my day. So we're going to talk about the game. Give you guys a little kind of overview of what we got to try out, and then just talk about how it feels, how it plays, and everything. We also have plenty more videos coming your way, so expect a lot of Zelda coverage over the coming weeks. But yeah, today we just thought I'd give you guys overarching impressions and talk about what we did.
Yeah, so Zelda might actually be one of those staple titles because I know Alex likes covering it. So yeah. It's one of the games that he's always played. Like, I love Final Fantasy, so that's my kind of childhood game. His one is Zelda. From what I saw you guys playing, so let me give you some perspective on what was actually happening in the demo. So we actually got a Nintendo representative to actually play for us, and he was actually decent with the game and actually had invested time in the demo. The big difference with this game is from like previous Zelda games, there's a lot of stuff to discover in it.
Yeah.
So if you've ever I don't know, if you're more of like a Metal Gear Solid fan, or if you play Metal Gear Solid 5 where there's like little nuances that you can discover within the game world, or like Dark Souls where you kind of, over the amount of time that you play it, you'll find out like specific things about the game world and how it kind of flows, then this is definitely a game like that, and it's massively changed Zelda and made me massively more excited about the game.
Yeah.
So, Alex, what were your impressions? Just give us a like one-word summary of what it was like.
Incredible is one word. I mean, incredible is the one word. I think from the second... So the demo starts, just to kind of give you guys an idea, there were two demos we could play. The one you guys are seeing is from like the first demo. And yeah, from the second that I played, just everything is... it's different. That's a game change. I mean, for example, something simple like jumping. In Zelda games up until now, you jump by running off a ledge. You now have a dedicated jump button. That now means if you want to do jump attacks with enemies, if you want to... jump onto ledges, if you want to jump onto walls. I mean, you can climb pretty much anything. Like, if you see a rock face, you can climb it.
Boys, this is Nintendo fans, yeah. No, this is not taken away from Zelda. This is exactly what Nintendo does, right? They add a jump button, and then people get excited about a jump button 10 years later since jump buttons have been introduced again.
It's so good. I mean, even this, speaking about what 26 said, there's about, nuances. One of the things that I didn't actually get to experience when I was playing it myself, because I didn't even realise you could do it, and then when the Nintendo representative played it, you can surf on your shield. Think about that scene from Legolas, when Legolas jumps on a shield, slides down the stairs, and is firing with his arrows. You can do that in Zelda. I mean,
yeah, you could surf on your shield, spin around, jump off the shield in mid-air, freeze yourself in the air, and like shoot off arrows and stuff. It's absolutely crazy. It's like a little sandbox now. It's Nintendo's take on an open world. I don't know if they've really done an open world game. Maybe I'm just missing one in my head.
Quite like that, I don't think.
But this is like Nintendo's take on an open world game with a nice sandbox. I'm starting to think that Japanese developers can do open world better than Western developers just fulfilling stuff, because Metal Gear Solid was one of my favorite games of that year that actually came out, Metal Gear Solid 5, and it was insane in terms of what you can do in a sandbox, and this is definitely giving me those kind of feelings, but in a Zelda format for a game that's actually coming out. So I'm super excited to actually play this, and just watching it from a perspective as well. There was loads of little stuff that you can combine and put together,
they had cooking, right?
No, not even just the cooking. The what was it? The world stuff, the grass and the wind and the fire and stuff.
So there's a section where you'll go and there'll be grass will be pretty dry because there won't necessarily be water over there, so it's brown grass. You throw you fire a fire arrow, or you throw a stick that's on fire into there. Suddenly it sets the whole thing ablaze. It burns through the grass. It spreads like wildfire. It's crazy.
And the fire the dude actually took out a whole camp of enemies just by throwing down one thing that would set the grass on fire and just letting the fire propagate using the wind, because the wind was pretty violent at this point, and it didn't set the fire out, but it spread the fire along, and it just burnt down the whole enemy village. It was pretty cool to actually see it actually happen. And the graphics on the fire, if you don't know about game development, fire is pretty hard to kind of convey realistically in games, and because it's quite a cartoony style and element in the way that it actually looks and propagates between instances of the grass look absolutely sick. It looks nearly not realistic, but looks good enough. So
within the scope, I mean, one of the other things that I was super impressed about as well. I mean, there's a lot of fundamental changes to what we know about Zelda. So if you're a Zelda fan and you think, oh, I'm going to this new one, I know what to expect. You need to kind of like relearn the whole thing. I mean, things from you don't get hearts anymore. You have to go around, you find items, you cook items, you have to prepare. If you want anything to regenerate your hearts, you have to have cooked that previously or made that previously. So if you decide to go into a dungeon and you haven't done any cooking, you haven't done any farming, then you're not going to have anything to regenerate your health. So I mean, that itself is interesting. Also, the fact that you can carry different weapons. So while there might at some point, like in the later game, be the equivalent to a Master Sword that is amazingly powerful, as it currently stands, in the demo you have a sword which it deteriorates the more you use it and it will break. You can then pick up different swords. You can pick up enemy weapons, spears, sticks, clubs. And this is something that's really cool, because I said before I really liked one of the systems I really liked about Skyward Sword was the whole kind of weapon evolution. You could upgrade weapons, they would change form. And while this is distinctly different, it's the fact that you can swap between different weapons. I found in their chest, I found a massive broadsword, and that just plays completely differently. It behaves differently, feels it's got different charge attacks. It's got different ways you interact with enemies. And, even down to clothing, you have different clothing aspects, and your clothing carries armor values. It carries things like, heat resistance, or, there's a tunic, for example, if you go into the snowy area, you have to put on this tunic to stay warm, or you have to have made food that will give you, basically warmth for a period of time. So there's just so many systems at play here that, as Dusek said, this is Nintendo's play on open world. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't really like to make the comparison because it's not exactly one of my favourite games, but Zelda meets Skyrim to a certain extent, right? Yeah. I mean, you can carry, there's obviously a limit to what you can carry as well. You can't just carry endless weapons. I mean, if you pick up too many enemy clubs and suddenly you've got 5 wooden clubs kicking around in your inventory, when you go to pick up the broadsword, you're not actually going to be able to grab it because it's, you're full. So there are loads of different systems at play here, and it's just, it's so refreshing. I mean, it's the first Zelda game that you really go into and you just don't know what to expect. I mean, they said that there are these mini dungeons which are basically called shrines, and from these you can get different runes and relics. And there are over 100 of these, mini dungeons, and that's not even including the actual
and the
dungeons.
runes are not rubbish stuff. One rune allowed you to freeze time. And the other rune allowed you to you hold magnetic stuff up.
Yes, you can use that for puzzle solving. There's bomb runes, so basically your bombs are no longer actual bombs that you buy. The bomb is a rune, and it has a cooldown timer, so you have infinite bombs, but you have them.
So if there's 100 of these cool abilities in the game, I don't even know what's gonna go on.
Yeah, I don't know whether they'll all have abilities tied to them, but still, the fact that you've got, and also when you zoom out on the map, it's massive. I was in this one small area. Well, I say small. I was in this one area in the demo, and I was already saying, "Yo, this is really big."
So the one small area that he's actually talking about was I'm trying to relate it to size. It's about the size in the entire map of Ocarina of Time, realistically.
Probably,
maybe a bit bigger. Actually, maybe a bit bigger.
Well, the actual number they gave us, they said it's 12 times the size of the Twilight Princess map.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big. Twilight Princess is. It's been a while since I probably played it, but that's a really big map anyway. So
yeah. So, what about combat? I know you fought an open world boss, which is also cool within itself.
Yeah, that's cool. So I was walking around freely, roaming, exploring, gathering mushrooms to do some cooking, and then there was this rock boss that just appeared. So it's like a world boss. It's not a dungeon boss. It's not a mandatory boss. It's just literally there, and upon killing it, you got items. But yeah, going back to combat. Combat itself just again feels super fluid. You've got the fact that you have the jump button, which means you've got the freedom to mix up how you want. You've got counters. You can block with your shield as you always have done, but you've got this system now where if you perfectly block, you'll then parry. And there's even these systems where you can kind of dash out the way of an enemy. And if you time it right, you actually have this sort of flurry option where you can do some really fierce stabs. So think about how if you played Wind Waker before, when you did this sort of the sword training, and you roll around the back of enemies and you slice up and take their armor off. It's kind of like that, but a lot more in depth. There's so many things you can do with this.
Cool. So we could talk about this all day, and the video is already nearly over 9 minutes. So I'm going to kind of wrap this up. But we're going to have loads of coverage on the channel in general. So if you guys want to see or know anything specific about the game, there was a couple of things that weren't included in the demo, like the paraglider, which is talking to the old man and swapping some items with him. He tries to barter that off of you. That's how you get out of the first area that you actually start off in. And there was no host riding, which is what I'm was disappointed in. But it will be super cool to actually see that when it actually is in game, because like horse riding has always been a staple of the Zelda games. So we're gonna kind of leave it there. What was your final impressions of the game?
I mean, final impressions is just like, it's incredible. It's honestly, I know it's so early to say, but I genuinely, I walked away and I put this out on Twitter. I was just like, I genuinely feel like this is going to be one of the best games like ever made. Like Ocarina of Time for me is one of the best games in my opinion, and I feel like this is going to completely obliterate it, and this is just going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm super excited for it. I can't wait to make more videos for you guys. Can't wait to play it. I just don't really want to have to wait until next March, please.
So, yeah, my impressions of it looks really cool from what I've seen. It is visually impressive. I want to see what it looks like on NX. If it looks this good on Wii U,
yes.
I definitely want to see what it looks on NX. The gamepad didn't look like it actually disrupted gameplay or impacted gameplay all that much. You did have like your items and your item sets on there that you could like switch between. And
I would say
like
I would probably rather. I felt like I would probably rather have played it with the Pro controller.
Yeah,
that's just naturally because I feel like it just feels more comfortable in my hand. But yeah, to your point, it did still play fine with the gamepad.
Yeah, and all the changes that they've made to the game definitely have intrigued me a lot more than just say traditional Zelda. I definitely want what I had. I'm going to be a bit weird. I definitely am one of those people that liked Skyward Sword. I know a lot of other people didn't. I enjoyed it. Hopefully if they bring back like some really cool music for this Zelda and like a nice atmosphere and a kind of great narrative, then it's definitely something I enjoy. The one thing I do worry about open world games is when they go this way, that they kind of detract from the story and there's not much of a storyline there. It's just, well, make your own fun. That's what the game is about. So hopefully they do have a strong quest system and narrative within the game to make up for that. But what I've seen from it is super cool. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. If you want to know or see anything on the channel, we're going to have stuff on the main gaming channel. So anyway, guys, like, comment and subscribe with what you want to know, and peace out. We'll have more videos on the channel for you guys. Peace.